Star Wars is back. The Skywalker saga is drawing to a close after many, many years. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going tomorrow night. But do you remember about 6 months ago when there were rumours that Matt Smith was going to be in it? Now, that's gone very quiet since then, so I don't know if he's actually in it or not. There's been no confirmations, there's been no denials, there's been nothing at all. Is he in this movie? I don't know. But when they first rumoured this about 6 months ago, I had an idea for a video. And that video is this video. Now, at the time, I researched, I even recorded all the audio for this video. This video is Doctor Who actors that have also been in Star Wars. As I said, I researched, I recorded the audio about 4 or 5 months ago, and then my laptop broke, so I wasn't able to complete the video and get it out around about when everyone was talking about Matt Smith possibly being in this movie. Now, for all I know, he still is in this movie. I haven't seen it yet, I don't know. You'll know if you've seen the movie. But, I have all that audio sitting there. Some of it may sound a bit strange because it's talking from a perspective of the film not being out yet, and the film is out. But that's because I recorded it 4 months ago. I now have a new laptop, I've managed to edit it. Here's the video, and here's a new introduction for it. That's what's happening anyway. We're going to talk about all the actors, I think all the actors, let me know in the comments if I missed anyone, that have been in both Star Wars, any type of Star Wars, and Doctor Who. So, but not Doctor Who spin-offs, just Doctor Who. So, that's a lot of people. Let's start the list. Over to you, past voice over me. Matt Smith isn't the only Doctor Who alum to appear in the forthcoming Star Wars film though. He'll be joined by Naomi Ackie, who you may remember as Jen, the mother of Rigsby's child in Doctor Who's Season 9 episode Face the Raven. In Rise of the Skywalker, she'll be playing a character named Janna. Not much is known about the character, but she's rumoured to be possibly playing Lando Calrissian's daughter. When asked about that rumour, she said, "Lando's a very charming man, so we could have children all over the universe. That's all I'm saying." And all I'm saying is that costume, colour scheme and cape combo sure does look familiar. Richard E. Grant, of course, played Dr. Simeon / the Great Intelligence in 3 of Matt Smith's later episodes of Doctor Who. But he also had a much earlier connection to the Whoniverse, playing the Doctor himself on 2 occasions. Firstly, in Stephen Moffat's 1999 comic relief comedy episode Curse of the Fatal Death, and then as the, at the time, official 9th Doctor in the 2003 webcast Curse of the Shulkra. He's also slated to appear in Rise of the Skywalker, and we've recently got a first look at his character, the rather sinister-looking Allegiant General Pride. What an Allegiant General is still anyone's guess, but I can say this. How has it taken this long for Russell E. Grant to be cast as a Star Wars bad guy? I mean, look at him. He was made for it. Jimmy V is one of several actors on this list you may not recognise just from looking at him, because he spends an awful lot of time in heavy makeup or encased in metal. In Doctor Who, he's inhabited various colours and prosthetics, as the Grask in Music of the Spheres, as Mox of Bahoon in The End of the World, as... hold on, let me get this right. Banner Kafalata? Don't you dare just call him Banner.
Look, can I just call you Banner? It's going to save a lot of time.
No! Banner Kafalata!
He also played Skyvox Blister in The Caretaker and was in several episodes of the Sarah Jane Adventures as the Grask, the Grosk, and various Child Slivine. In Star Wars, he took over the role originated by Kenny Baker and has been playing R2-D2 in all of his appearances from The Force Awakens onwards. Alice Hukin, who played the character Felicity in the Peter Capaldi episode Knock Knock on Doctor Who, can be spotted as a female guest at the party scene in Solo. Kiran Shahar is a Kenyan actor who also regularly appears under prosthetics and other face-covering things as an emoji bot and as Lissen's creepy figure in Doctor Who, and in Star Wars as Karaj in Solo, Neepa's Pampik in Last Jedi, Ulin Musters in Rogue One, and as Iwaj, I think that's how you pronounce it, an Ewok, and EG6 in Return of the Jedi. Who fans may recognise Lily Cole as the tempting siren in Season 5's Curse of the Black Spot, but you'd have to search a little bit more in the background for her in Star Wars because she played Party Girl Lovely in Star Wars The Last Jedi. Paul Davis played Kling Sandman in the Peter Capaldi episode Sleep No More, but he was a lot hairier in Solo, A Star Wars Story, when he played a Wookiee slave. Warwick Davis got his acting break in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back as the Ewok Wicket. Since then, he's become quite well known, headlining his own films, such as Willow, and being a regular appearances on screens big and small. He's been invited back to the galaxy far, far away several times in multiple roles, such as a character named Wald in Episode 1, Hoovlin in The Force Awakens, Wheat Chief Sayubi in Rogue One, Wadbin in The Last Jedi, Wheel in Solo, and even voicing a character called Rukh, I have no idea how to pronounce that, Rukh, in the TV show Star Wars Rebels, but it'll always be Wicket to us, really. In Doctor Who, he played Porridge, the hiding away from his responsibilities human emperor, defender of humanity, and imperator of known space in the episode Nightmare in Silver. The guy's got as many titles as Daenerys Targaryen. Another one you wouldn't recognise, Adrian Cook. In Doctor Who, he played several monsters throughout the revival: Zygons, Cybermen, the Mummy in Rings of Akatan, and the Crooked Man in Hyde. In Star Wars Rogue One, he played a character only credited as Two Tubes on IMDb, proving once again that Disney is just as unoriginal with names as George Lucas was. It's a trap! Sorry, couldn't help myself. The next entry on this list is a little bit of a cheat. It's the man controlling Admiral Akbar, Tim Rose, who portrayed the movements of the fish-headed resistance leader, first in Return of the Jedi, and then also in The Force Awakens before meeting a rather unceremonious but fiery demise in The Last Jedi. He didn't provide the voice though. Predominantly, Tim Rose is an animatronics man, which is why he doesn't necessarily strictly fit on the actor part of this list, but it's General Akbar, I really couldn't leave him off. Sometimes he had his hand up a puppet, manipulating the face of Jyn Erso. Sometimes he was actually in the suit himself. His involvement in Doctor Who also is as an animatronic engineer, so again, bit of a treat to be on this list. But, like I said, it's Jyn Erso, man. I couldn't leave him off. He worked on Closing Time, Let's Kill Hitler, and Deep Breath, doing animatronic things. It's small roles in both franchises for Tobias James Samuels, who played a stormtrooper in both Solo and The Last Jedi, and a waiter in the Doctor Who Christmas special Voyage of the Damned. Danny Sapani, who played Colonel Manton in the Doctor Who episode A Good Man Goes to War, plays Medical Frigate Captain in Star Wars The Last Jedi. Darren Moffat played a small role in both franchises as a Transport Deck Officer in Star Wars The Last Jedi, and as Marco in Flesh and Stone and Time of the Angels in Doctor Who. Amanda Lawrence cackled her way into the Doctor's Rogue Gallery as the Karenite Doomfinger, but she was on the side of good in Star Wars as Commander Deassi of the Resistance in The Last Jedi. In the two-part Slovene debut story, Aliens of London and World War III, Navin Chowdhury played the Junior Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, Indra Ganesh, and in Star Wars The Last Jedi, he played a Resistance cargo pilot. Togo Egawa was the Secretary General of the UN in the Doctor Who Series 10 episode Pyramid at the End of the World. He had a much lower rank in Star Wars, though, as a Resistance bridge officer in The Last Jedi. The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe is definitely not a great episode of Doctor Who. But it is the episode that Paul Baisley appeared in. He played Vengar, the Harvest Ranger in that episode. And in Star Wars, another Last Jedi officer, but this time one working for the First Order under General Hux, so bit of variety at last. Paul Casey had to be included on this list because of the sheer amount of episodes he's been in. 35 in total, as monsters such as Ood Sigma in Planet of the Ood and End of Time, as Zygons, Robot Santas, Cyber Leaders and more, as well as appearances in Sarah Jane Adventures and Torchwood. In Star Wars he played Tie Din Rally in The Last Jedi and Elo Astri in The Force Awakens. He's one of the more well-known names on this list. Simon Pegg, of course, played the villainous editor in Series 1's The Long Game. He'd be harder to spot in Star Wars for his two appearances though, under heavy prosthetics as Unkar Plutt in The Force Awakens and voicing an animated character of Dengar in the Clone Wars series. Akiyoma Shabi is our first Doctor Who Series 11 entry on this list. He played Fred Gray in the episode Rosa, and in Star Wars was another Resistance bridge officer in The Last Jedi. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of bridge officers on this list. Maybe better known for his role in the film Love Actually, or in fantasy TV series Game of Thrones, Thomas Brady Sanger made his Doctor Who appearance in Series 3's Human Nature and the Family of Blood, as private school pupil Tim Latimer, who helped the Doctor, should that be John Smith, defeat the villainous family. In Star Wars, you can see him working for the bad guys as a First Order officer in The Force Awakens. In both those same Doctor Who episode and same Star Wars movie, you can also find Pip Torrens. He plays Rocastle in the Doctor Who two-parter and Colonel Kaplan in The Force Awakens. Brian Vernal played Roman soldier Lucius in the Doctor Who episode Eaters of Light, and Balatik in Star Wars The Force Awakens. You'll definitely recognise my next entry. Tosin Cole, of course, played companion Ryan Sinclair in Series 11 and in the upcoming Series 12, and in a blink and you'll miss it appearance in Star Wars The Force Awakens as Lieutenant Bastian. He was a game show contestant in Series 1's Bad Wolf and the First Order's Lieutenant Mitka in The Force Awakens. So, Sebastian Amasto, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. David Prowse is well known to Star Wars fans for being the man inside the Vader suit for the original Star Wars trilogy. Not the voice of the character, mind. That was the iconic tones of James L. Jones. And not the man we saw when the mask was removed in Return of the Jedi. That was English actor Sebastian Shaw. But walking around in the big black suit was David most of the time. He was similarly concealed from view in his Doctor Who role as the Minotaur in the story The Time Monster. In fact, playing both Minotaur-like creatures and Darth Vader seems to be a bit of a trend, because the actor in the Sith suit in Rogue One, Spencer Wilding, also played the very Minotaur-like creature in the 11th Doctor episode, God Complex. What are the chances, eh? Tom Eden played Pharmacist 1 in Doctor Who Series 3 episode Gridlock and a First Order officer in The Force Awakens. The William Hartnell Doctor Who serial The Gunfighters seems to get a mixed reception among fans, and our next entry played a role in 2 of its episodes. Shane Rimmer played Seth Harper in the episodes Don't Shoot the Pianist and Holiday for the Doctor. He also played, albeit uncredited, an Incom engineer in the very first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. Shane sadly passed away in March 2019. Ooh, look at the time. This is getting a bit of a long list, isn't it? Let's do a New Hope lightning round to speed things up. Garrick Hagen played Abraham in A Town Called Mercy and Red 3, aka Biggs, in Star Wars A New Hope. Leslie Schofield played Leroy in Episode 4 of The War Games and Caleb in The Face of Evil of Doctor Who, and in Star Wars played Commander Number 1 in A New Hope. Don Henderson played Davrock in Delta and the Bannerman and General Taggy in Star Wars A New Hope. Malcolm Tierney can be seen as Doland in Trial of a Time Lord and the uncredited role of Lieutenant Shane Charlton in A New Hope. George Rubeck played Captain Hooper in The Tomb of the Cybermen and the uncredited Commander Prudgie in Star Wars A New Hope. Pat Gorman was an extra in Star Wars New Hope. In Doctor Who, he appeared in a staggering 104 episodes in a variety of roles, the first being in 1964's World End and the last 1985's Attack of the Cybermen. Whew! Lightning round over, let's have another big gun. Felicity Jones, Star Wars Rogue One's leading lady as Jyn Erso, was seen several years before in the Doctor Who Series 4 Agatha Christie episode The Unicorn and the Wasp as Robina Redmond. Next, I am absolutely delighted to be able to include a Star Wars Holiday Special alum in this list as well. Marcus Powell played Risa Ryged in that bit of Star Wars lore that many tried to forget. Oh yeah, and he was also in A New Hope, but that's a less interesting fact. In Doctor Who, he played a prisoner in Destiny of the Daleks. Ron Tarr is probably best known to older British viewers as Big Ron in EastEnders, and he filmed an unaired scene as that character for 1993's charity Doctor Who / EastEnders crossover Dimensions in Time. In that though, audiences got to pick one of 2 endings by phone vote and his was not selected. That wasn't his only Who appearance though, as he also played a prisoner in 2 episodes of Destiny of the Daleks. In Star Wars, he portrayed Ront Blymu in Episode 4 A New Hope. Daniel Mays played the unfortunately stabbed in the back very early Tivik in the first scenes of Star Wars Rogue One. He's a very well-known face on British TV though, and popped up in Doctor Who in the episode Night Terrors. Graham Ashley played the Overseer in Doctor Who's The Underwater Menace and Gold 5 in Star Wars A New Hope. Playing Little John in Doctor Who's Robot of Sherwood was Rusty Joff, who also played several roles in A New Hope, Cabe, a Jawa, and a Gonk droid. Bernal Tucker's role in Doctor Who's Angels Take Manhattan was short, a quick cryptic message, and dying as an old man time-displaced version of Garner, a character we'd already seen in the episode in his youth. Several decades earlier, he'd played the uncredited role of Del Gorin in A New Hope. Right, let's have another lightning round, this time Rogue One. Michael Smiley played Colonel Morgan Blue in Doctor Who's Into the Dalek and Dr. Evazan in Rogue One. Aeon Baker was Leandro in The Woman Who Lived and Blue 4 in Star Wars. Playing Senator Pamlo in Rogue One, Sharon Duncan Brewster made her Doctor Who appearances as Maggie Kane in The Waters of Mars. Shina Shihoko Nage played a Tokyo operator in the Doctor Who Christmas special The Return of Dr. Mysterio and a mother of a lost child in Rogue One. Martin Gordon's Star Wars role was as Vanny in Rogue One and in Doctor Who as a prisoner officer in Mind of Evil. And then we get to Richard Franklin. Yes, Mike Yates himself, who eventually made his way over to the universe far, far away, and a long time ago, so maybe he borrowed the TARDIS, to play an engineer in Rogue One. Jeremy Bulloch played a character in Star Wars you have definitely heard of, unless you live under a rock, because he was behind the Boba Fett suit in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He returned to the franchise again as a different character in Revenge of the Sith as Captain Cotton. In Doctor Who, he's had multiple roles. He played Hal in The Time Warrior and Tor in The Space Museum. Julian Glover is another rather famous name on this list, appearing on screens big and small for over half a century. Indiana Jones, Game of Thrones, and of course, the two franchises we're talking about here. He played the regal Richard the Lionheart in Doctor Who's Crusade, and also appeared as several characters in City of Death. In the Star Wars universe, he played General Veers in The Empire Strikes Back. Every flamboyant intergalactic playboy needs someone to hold their cape while they woo the ladies, chaps, and robots? And in Empire Strikes Back, Landau Calrissian had his aide, no name given, played by John Hollis. In Doctor Who, John played a similarly unnamed character, a Sondor Guard in The Mutants. With a name like Deep Roy, it's an absolute wonder this actor isn't primarily found in the adult film industry. But no, he is a legitimate actor, and one you'll probably recognise from his many appearances in film and TV over the years. It's a bit harder to spot in the two franchises we're talking about though. He played the creepy Mr. Sin in The Talons of Weng-Chiang, and in Star Wars, he was the stand-in for Yoda in Empire Strikes Back, and got a role of his own, Droopy McDrool, that's original Lucas naming again, in Return of the Jedi. Milton Jones played Bennick in Doctor Who's The Enemy of the World, Guy Crayford in The Android Invasion, and Kellner in The Invasion of Time. He played an Imperial officer in Empire Strikes Back. Michael Sheard had several Doctor Who roles over the years: Dr. Summers in The Mind of Evil, Lawrence Scarman in The Pyramids of Mars, Murgrave in Castrovalva, and the head teacher in Remembrance of the Daleks. But just one in Star Wars: Admiral Oslo. Ian Liston played Hero in Doctor Who's The Armageddon Factor Part 1 and is credited as Rebel Force Jansen, Wedge's gunner, on IMDb for Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I'm not sure which bit of that is a title and which bit of it is an actual name either. Michael Carter played Bib Fortuna in Return of the Jedi, which, by the by, I'm pretty sure I used to have an action figure of when I was a kid. In Doctor Who, he played an uncredited prisoner and unit soldier in The Mind of Evil. The early 1980s were a weird time. People actually wore stuff like this, and you had to actually read maps if you didn't want to get lost in the countryside. Also, back in 1980, you could get away with crediting an actress as playing Fat Dancer, just as Claire Davenport was in Return of the Jedi, which is frankly a little bit rude. A couple of decades earlier, though, she had a much grander title as the Empress in the first Doctor serial, Marco Polo. "Gordon's alive?" was something Brian Blessed said in a completely different sci-fi property, and something I'm sure he's bored of people quoting at him, but I just couldn't resist. In Doctor Who, he played King, I can't pronounce this name, Icarus, is it? Is it Icarus? Anyway, in Trial of a Time Lord. In Star Wars, and this was something I hadn't realised, he voiced the CGI character Boss Nass, the head of Jar Jar's people in The Phantom Menace. Lindsay Duncan played Adelaide Brooke in the Waters of Mars episode of Doctor Who. She voiced a droid, TC-14, in The Phantom Menace. Peter Serafinowicz played the woefully underused character of Darth Maul in Star Wars The Phantom In the Doctor Who episode The Bells of St. John, Celia Imrie played Miss Kizit, and in Star Wars The Phantom Menace, she played Fighter Pilot Bravo 5. Steve Spears played Strickland in the Doctor Who Series 1 Slovene two-parter World War III Aliens of London, and Captain Tarples in one of the Star Wars movies, but I've forgotten to write down which one, so yeah, I don't know, go check it out on IMDb. God, video fail. Next, more widely known for British medical drama Holby City, Hugh Quashai would be recognisable as Solomon in Series 3's Dalek episodes Dalek in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks. In Star Wars, he can be seen guarding Queen Amidala as Captain Panaka in The Phantom Menace. Silas Carson voiced Ood Sigma in The End of Time and other Ood in The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit, and in Star Wars he played Newt Gunray in Star Wars episodes 1, 2 and 3. Alan Risco played Andy Stone in The Waters of Mars, as well as portraying several monsters in Series 1, such as a Slovene, an android, one of the Forest of Cheam, and an Auton. He also played a clown in Sarah Jane Adventures Day of the Clown. In Star Wars he played Dolte Dauphine, Pocon, and Bib Fortuna in The Phantom Menace, as well as Lot Dodd in Attack of the Clones. Alicia Dehaka played Solana Mercurio in Planet of the Ood on Doctor Who, and in Star Wars she played Naboo's Queen Jamila in Attack of the Clones. In the Clone Wars animated series, there was a droid called Professor Hu Yang who was played by some guy called David Tennant? Yeah, I've never heard of him either, but apparently he's been in Doctor Who. Also in the Clone Wars series was Julian Holloway playing Prime Minister Almac. In Doctor Who, he played Patterson in Survival. Tobias Mendes played Submarine Officer Lieutenant Stapassin in the Doctor Who Ice Warrior episode Cold War. In Star Wars Rebels, the animated series, he voiced the character of Tiber Saxon. And let's end this list on a big one. Did you know Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor himself, was in Star Wars? Well, his voice is. Tom voiced the character of Bendu, a Force-sensitive entity who resided on the planet of Atolan, who claimed to represent the centre of the Force, in between the light and the dark. He voiced this character for 5 whole episodes of the series, and who knows with Star Wars, there's always a chance of a return. And that's your lot, and it is a lot of actors appearing in both franchises, including 3 Doctors. But who else from Doctor Who do you think deserves a shot in a galaxy far, far away? What type of roles could the other 6 living actors who have played the Doctor take? Force users, Imperials, or Rebels, or maybe a droid? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, share it, subscribe, and all that jazz, because, you know, gives me a warm, tingly feeling. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.